Fabulous. Okay, so yes, just introduce yourself.
Cool. Talofa lava everyone, ola ingo, Ivan Chung-Kwan, e luas fulmalilua lo tosonga. Mua ole Samoa Afrika Sisenga. I am currently studying here at the University of Auckland and reside out in East Auckland, where I attended Pakuranga College.
Talofa lava everyone, my name is Kane and I am a third year law student at the University of Otago. I went to St. Patrick's College in Wellington and I am Samoan.
Mālō, my name is Mo'unga Vivili. I am a second year law student at Victoria University of Wellington. I went to school at Newlands College here in Wellington. I am half Tongan, half Papua New Guinean.
Challenging, eye-opening, and communal. Because law school is filled with many, many challenges. Even just being a student, a minority student at law school, can be a challenge in itself. Eye-opening because the teachings by the lecturers and even your peers open your eyes to the way that the law works, and even the perspectives of everyone around you. And communal because currently I sit as the male co-president of Pacific Island Law Students Association, and through this, all the Pacific Island students, as well as Māori students, are quite close-knit and family in one another.
It is tough but rewarding, and I choose these 3 words because it is a really tough course with a lot of twists and turns, but I think that if you work hard, then you'll really reap the rewards.
Challenging, rewarding, and harmonious. I chose challenging because there is a lot of work you need to do in a short amount of time. And I chose rewarding because even though it is a lot of work, I can give back to a lot of people with what I've learned. And I chose harmonious because even though there's a lot of different people around me, I feel that we can all relate to each other easily through our studies.
My thoughts of law school in high school. I didn't really have any thoughts. I was just like, damn, law seems pretty cool. Putting away bad people, defending innocent people, and helping the community, especially our own people.
I had never really thought much about law school, but when I told people that I was going to do law, I got a lot of surprise reactions like, oh, are you going to do law? But I think that was because I wasn't the most academic kid in high school, so I wasn't really seen as someone who can do it.
When I was in high school, I took up biology and maths. Law was not introduced to me at that time, so I never thought of law school.
Law wasn't actually my initial choice. I got accepted into first year law but declined it and decided to do just accounting. However, doing my second accounting paper, I realized, damn, I actually suck at accounting. And this isn't for me, so I dropped it and picked up law again.
I've seen a lot of legal issues growing up. Some range from things such as driving tickets and to a couple of assaults on me. Throughout the legal issues, I saw a lot of injustice, such as my white friends were often given pre-charge warnings for their driving tickets, which were the same as mine, and I was charged for it. I've been assaulted where the person who was white got a far lesser penalty than my Pacifica and Māori brothers and sisters would have received a much harsher penalty for an assault that would have been worse than what happened to me. So I witnessed firsthand how there is injustice, and I was quite lucky to have a lot of people around me who could help me through it. So this all happened before university, and I realized that there was a lot of people out there who were less fortunate than me, and they were less likely to get through their situations without all the support that I was lucky enough to have. And I want to be that person that can take that stress away from them because I do know what it's like. I just want to bear the burden for them to get through it.
I chose law because I wanted to learn how government works, how the law applies to us individually, to the country, and to the world.
Transition is quite significant in terms of coming to uni, attending, and just being present. You have so much more freedom, and sometimes that just gets the better of you, but you just need to remain focused and know your boundaries. I only had one friend that I knew that was already in law, but through PILSA and tutorials made specifically for Pacific students, I made friends real quick, so that made the transition into law a lot more easier.
I think that one thing that I was prepared for was the amount of hard work that you actually need to put in for first year law. The workload was 1,000 times heavier than high school, but it was bearable. And like I said earlier, I wasn't the brightest kid in high school, but I always worked hard in achieving results. And I think that having that work ethic is more important than actually being naturally smart, naturally academic, because I did have a lot of friends who were actually very smart, but they didn't make it through to second year because they didn't put the work in. Also, I think that having friends who I could ask for help was really what helped me in my first year as well.
I was not prepared at all for law school. I was that student that took my time when I was late because I was already late anyway, and that poor habit transferred onto how I worked at university, and it showed in my results. Life at uni is very different to high school life. You have to take initiative for your own work, so that was very challenging.
Yeah, there are plenty. There's quite a few other Pacific students in law school, especially coming from PILSA, but we still remain the minority alongside our Pacific brothers and sisters.
So in my first year, I think that there was about 25 to 30 Pacifica first year students, and I was one of two people that made it through to second year, which was a bit sad to see.
There are other Pacifica law students, but based on what I've seen, we probably make about 1/10 of the population. All I know is that there's not a lot of us.
Yes, we're in the PILSA room right now because I couldn't film this out. Yeah, we have our very own room at the law school, which is right next to a silent study space, as well as a kitchen. As mentioned, this year I serve as PILSA's male co-president for 2020. Last year I served on the exec as the social officer. A lot of academic workshops as well as professional development workshops, which are run by our academic and professional development officers. They help us to get a feel of what it's going to be like in the industry once we leave law school, and they also help us through this journey of law school with our own studies and the papers, especially the ones that don't have specific tutorials.
Yes, there is. There's the Pacific Island Centre, which I definitely recommend to all first year Pacifica students to meet all of the staff who are really, really lovely. We have the Pacific Island Law Students Association, who I am on the exec for as the secretary. And we do a lot of things for our members to make sure that they enjoy their years at law school. We run social events like our Buddies program, which is where we pair up a senior student to to some junior students to help them ease their way into their first couple of years of Otago. We also hold beach cleanups, guest speakers, dessert nights, and just generally hanging out with each other. We do events that will help the transitions into your legal career, such as interview workshops with law firms. And we also run a sentencing competition against the University of Canterbury. We also run tutorials for our first and second year students, and it's really helped me during my time at law school, as I consider PILSA to be my second family, and it's provided me with heaps of opportunities to succeed.
There is a separate room for Pacifica students. We have a Pacifica Law Student Society, and they help Māori and Pacifica law students. They hold extra tutorials for us and give us tips on how we can study, or on what we can study especially. And yeah, they're really helpful. If it weren't for them, I would not have made it.
For me personally, the main misconception that there is that law school is only for smart people. You don't need some special type of skills. As long as you have the passion and drive, you can do it, and know that you'll always have support around you, especially for the Pacific community.
A very common one is that the faculty is really scary and that they're hiding answers from you, but that's really not the case. If you actually ask them properly and at the appropriate time, then they're more than happy to help you. You just got to ask.
Is that only really smart students make it? I barely made it through high school, and yet I made it, and it all comes down to doing the work at the right time. You know, if you do what you need to do at the right time, you will succeed.
Oh, yes. The biggest obstacle is your mentality, your mindset. You need to get over the being lazy and just into it. Just get into it. Quit procrastinating and just do it. That overall is my biggest obstacle, especially with all these food places down the road. Yeah, you just gotta stay. Just start.
I haven't really faced a lot of obstacles at law school so far, but I think that's because of my ability to identify a problem early before it gets bad, and just making sure that I can ask for help before that problem becomes pretty bad. But I do guess that I did have a problem last year in my second year, where it was my first year flashing. That was a really tough time for me to find the balance between my social life and my academics, because you just had a lot of freedom. No one's there to tell you what to do, like your parents or the staff at the halls. So I found that having a balance between my social life and my academics was pretty challenging.
Is adapting and learning new skills. Throughout law school, there are different stages, such as first year, you will learn how to memorize the important things, and then when you get into second year, you will start applying what you've learned to real life situations, and you will start practicing to speak, and that is the major challenge.
Oh, this is a hard one. PILSA for me is a great balance to make sure that I never forget my roots and that I stay culturally grounded and connected. It's been hard to balance family with uni. I'm at uni 5 days a week, and then I'm at work the other 2 days of the week. The only family time I really get is when I'm after uni or after work, because by the time I get up in the morning, they've already left the house. But it's good just to take time off. Try and manage your timetable so that you kind of get a day off as well. I had 2 days off the past semester, which I used to stay home and look after my nana as well.
I really do get involved with a lot of Pacifica events that happen at Otago. We're our own little community in a town that has a lot of non-Pacifica people. But through Pilsa, I've learned a lot about my culture and some of the issues that we face as Pacifica people. I also try to keep up with other associations such as the Otago Pacific Island, the Otago Samoan Students Association, who hold a lot of events for us Samoan people, and there's a lot of different variants of that kind of cultural group, such as the Otago Tongan Students Association for our Tongan brothers and sisters, and a whole lot of others. In regards to my family, I guess that we FaceTime quite often.
It's not hard to balance my family and studies because majority of my family are overseas and I'm only here with my immediate family, and my family understands that I'm currently studying, and so they do not demand a lot of my time.
Slightly. I've gotten to know somewhat, I've gotten somewhat of an understanding of how the law works and how it affects our people. But there are still a lot of changes that need to be made for our people, and we just need to keep an open mind of what's happening out there as well that's affecting our people, especially in a negative way.
Yeah, it really has, because I can see that there is a lot of inequalities when it comes to our legal system and how it affects Māori and Pacifica. I used to think that our justice system was pretty near perfect, but there are a lot of things that shows me that it's very flawed, such as the pre-charge warnings being given to Pākehā significantly more than it is to Māori, and how Parliament can treat the treaty pretty bad sometimes.
My perspective of how the law applies, or the law in general, has not changed drastically. I never really had a perspective that the law was either this or that, so majority of the time I was just learning.
Being friends is the most important thing that helped me get through law school. I would not have survived law school, and still would not survive law school without my friends. They're definitely friends for life, and then your family are there to encourage you at home and support you in your journey as well.
Having a good work ethic and having the ability to ask for help when you need it. I think that as Pacific Islanders, we don't often reach out when we need help, and there's a lot of people that want us to succeed and are happy to help when we need it. My family, my motivation, and my friends are actually quite supportive in my journey as well, which I'm really thankful for. And also my girlfriend likes to give me a push when she sees I'm slacking off a bit as well.
My family is a great source of motivation for me because they remind me of how I'm able to be where I am, and my parents are always educating me too. And my faith and my relationship with God is the most valuable treasure that I have. It helps keep me mentally healthy as well, and I always learn better when I start the day off with praying and talking to God.
Keep going. You're gonna have the best experience of your life. You're gonna have so much freedom, but don't abuse that. At least go to your classes. They're just like 3 or so hours a day. Especially coming out of lockdown, you know how much you've taken it for granted. Now you got the fire to get you through. Yeah, so it's only 3 or so hours a day, and the rest of the day you can be a god.
It would probably be that I can do it. I really doubted myself before law school, because of the surprise reactions I got when I told people that I was going to study law. I guess attend every lecture, actually wake up for 9 a.m.s, but mostly just enjoy it, because first year was, I guess, I had the balance wrong for that as well, because I focused way too much on the academic side rather than the social. And I think looking back, I definitely would have spent more time making more relationships with my friends and just enjoying myself rather than spending all day stressing about law.
I would tell my younger self to start forming good habits, because when you get older, it's harder to change your ways. So once you form good habits, that will become your lifestyle.
Just listen to your parents and never forget your roots. Your culture is very important, especially when you're in law school as a minority. You gotta stick to it.
We as Pacifica people deserve to be doing what we want to do, and don't ever let someone tell you that you can't do it, and don't let the haters get to you. I'm sending lots of aroha to those that need it right now, and thank you for listening to me. Ka kite anō.
I hope you took something away from this video. Take care of yourselves, and I hope I can see many of you at law school. Bye!